So your company is going through a major reshuffle. Maybe this CEO that you have been used to for the longest time is officially going on retirement, or has been offered a role in another company, and the incoming one prefers to shake things a little bit, change the departmental heads, maybe remove what he considers unnecessary positions, merge others into one, or even introduce a leaner budget, which will actually have you working for longer hours. And to you, this is not just a transition. This feels messy, it feels uncertain, and quite honestly, emotional. You loved things the way they were and did not consciously prepare for a time like this. So if you're already in a leadership position or even about to take one, you have people looking up to you, and the pressure to stay strong and composed is intense. You'll have to reassure your team members, you have to keep the performance up, and all this while managing your own emotions, which are doing backflips on you. So in this video, I'm sharing with you 7 real practical ways to stay emotionally balanced as a leader when everything else around you is shifting. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy, and if you're coming across my face for the very first time, I'm a workplace leadership trainer. I do help women transition and settle into leadership roles without compromising their mental and emotional wellness. I've also authored 3 books centered around leadership and customer experience, and the most recent one is Lead Outwardly Loud. So you'll mostly find me here discussing topics on matters of leadership, professional growth, career advancement, all the while protecting your mental and emotional well-being. So if this is the kind of content that resonates with you, kindly consider subscribing. Press that notification bell and you're going to receive an alert whenever I release a new video. And to all my subscribers, old and new alike, thank you so much for supporting and growing this community. Change will always be part of leadership and company growth, but emotional balance doesn't have to be the price you pay, the cost of your ambition. And I say this in most of my videos, it's not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about being grounded, well in control of your emotional energy. So I'm just going to dive straight to the very first tool that you want to embrace, which is normalize uncertainty. It does not mean that you're failing, Uncertainty is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's not a sign that you're doing anything wrong. It just shows that change is happening, and uncomfortable as it may be, discomfort is not danger. There's always that natural need for us as humans to overexert ourselves, do just a little bit extra to prove our worth in an organization, especially when we're not sure about our tomorrow there. It's called protecting our behinds or taking care of our backsides. But when you normalize uncertainty, you shift from I must have all the answers to it's okay to figure things out as we go. I don't have all the answers, and that's allowed. This small mindset shift has 2 powerful things that it's going to do. For one, it's going to quiet that inner critic that says that you're not doing enough to prove your value in that department, in that role. It's also going to calm your nervous system, because now uncertainty is no longer a threat to you, but a normal part of your leadership journey. And the plan here is to reduce the pressure to control everything so that you can breathe easy, so that you can think clearly without spiraling into self-doubt every time something changes in that organization. And you can actually create for yourself a space for adaptability over anxiety. So the next time you find yourself in a reorganization situation and one of your team members keeps asking, what do we do next? How do we proceed from here? And in all honesty, you're also clueless. Please don't panic. Don't try to over-explain or even pretend to have it all together. Just go for honesty. Here is what I know. Here's what we are still waiting for. And I promise to keep you all in the loop so that we can navigate this together. And you're going to notice that transparency brings your teams in. It actually cements trust. It helps you stay grounded, and you'll be leading with presence, not pressure. The second tool, protect your energy like it's currency. In chaotic seasons, your energy becomes your most valuable asset. Not every problem needs your input. You do not owe every meeting your full emotional presence, just like not every email needs an immediate reply. So just look at it this way. Every yes to someone else's demand is actually a no to your own balance. An example, here's a week where you've confirmed your availability for every meeting of every single day, and you're still jumping into every team issue. You're keeping up as the go-to person for everyone. But then come Friday, you're literally crying in the parking lot. Not because anything went wrong during the week. No, you're just drained. You are tired and you have nothing left to give. You need that moment even before driving back home. This means that the entire week you were over-functioning and not necessarily leading. And if you look at your energy like money, would you just hand over 100, 200, 300 US dollar bills to anyone and everyone just because they asked? So why give away your emotional energy on things that don't actually need you? And the main danger of not protecting your energy here is that you risk ending up emotionally bankrupt. And I alluded to this in my most recent video. You're going to find that you are going to start resenting your work. You're going to become short-tempered with your team. You're going to show up physically, but mentally you've checked out. You are gone. And before you know it, burnout has sneaked into your system. So just the way you would be very, very intentional with your finances, you want to be very intentional about where and who you give your energy to. Then ask yourself every morning, what absolutely needs my concentration today? Are there things that actually can wait? Are there things that can be delegated? And if they can be delegated, to whom can I delegate them? Here, you're literally putting to use the Eisenhower matrix, where you're giving full priority to what's important and urgent. You're scheduling what's important, but not as urgent. You're delegating what does not need your physical input, but it's just as urgent. Or you're also completely doing away with what is not important, neither is it urgent. And that way you're going to have a clear picture of what a normal day should look like for you. And you're going to notice that your decisions will get clearer within the coming days. Your mood is going to be well regulated, and most importantly, you'll be comfortable operating in your element. The third tool, feel before you lead, aka check in with yourself before pouring into others. Did you know that naming your emotion can actually take away its power? You know, you say, I'm feeling anxious today because of all this pressure to hit targets, and we are right in the middle of restructuring. I don't like the way I'm feeling, that's valid. And in the same token, you can still tell yourself, I'm capable of being calm. I'm capable of being strategic. These feelings can actually coexist. And at the end of the day, I get to decide how to show up, and my emotions are not going to hijack the moment. And one of the easiest ways to lose emotional balance in leadership is to lead on autopilot without sparing a moment for yourself. So you're doing things because they've always been done that way. The meetings have always lasted 45 minutes. These are the topics that have always come up. This is how we've always discussed them, and this is how we've always concluded those meetings. But emotionally, you find that there's a disconnect. Our own human reality is that every day will show up differently. One day you could be so excited about a milestone that you celebrated over the weekend, then it spills into your days. Another, you may have received quite underwhelming news about a loved one that compromises you emotionally. You cannot lead well from emotional confusion. So check in with yourself first. And in the aviation industry, they used to teach us your safety comes first. So you want to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And be very honest with yourself. Just imagine walking into a team meeting, but you're still carrying the weight, the tension, the baggage from a tough conversation that you had with your boss the previous day. You've not had the time to process it. You cannot even name what you're feeling because there's so much confusion in there, and you cannot name what you're feeling. So the best bet is to push through the meeting like nothing happened and just hope for the best. But everyone can see that you're edgy. Your team members are cross-eyeing you and even sending subliminal messages to each other because they're unsure whether to engage you. They don't know whether to ask. They don't know whether to wait until the dust settles. They don't know what to expect from you. So you're giving short and structured answers garnished with curt remarks, and the warmth in your persona is diluted. It's almost gone. You're still insisting on acting professional, but what you're doing here is you're unintentionally creating an environment of tension and unpredictability. Even if your intentions are good, because your responses are driven by stress, they're driven by frustration, fear, anxiety, and you are letting your emotions drive you instead of you driving your emotions. And this is a recipe that makes your team feel unsafe under your leadership. As a leader, your presence should actually calm the room and not necessarily spike it. So the next time you find yourself in such a predicament, take 30 seconds for yourself before walking into the meeting. Pause. Ask yourself, How exactly am I feeling? Name that feeling for self-awareness purposes. That way you will be connected with your emotional state, and now you can show up fully present and not reactive, not perfect, but powerful. Tool number 4, set boundaries without guilt. Boundaries can be so hard for highly career-driven people. You've been conditioned to actually be helpful, to be accessible, to be on all the time. So you stretch yourself thin, believing that this is what is expected of you. But the reality here is that you're subconsciously training your colleagues and your teams to expect access to you at all times. But in the process, you will be losing access to yourself. That means you don't have time to think, to reflect, to reset, to feel, to experience what's going on in your own leadership journey. And leadership doesn't necessarily mean you have to be available 24/7. When everything else feels urgent, nothing is going to get your full energy. You want to be wise about where your time, where your energy and emotional investments go. And boundaries are the way to protect your peace without pushing people away. When your calendar is packed with all these meetings that you didn't really need to be in, or you're replying to all these emails at 11 p.m., not because you want to, but because you feel so guilty for not responding. That's not leadership. That's emotional leakage. You're bleeding energy into things that don't necessarily serve your role, nor are they even beneficial to your wellness. So when someone unexpectedly makes a demand on your time, try saying this next time, I'll have to get back to you on this one tomorrow after I've had a bit of time to think it through. This is professional, it's calm, and it gives your nervous system a break. You can actually breathe mentally, emotionally, and physically. So before responding to those messages at 11 p.m., ask yourself, if I reply right now, am I doing it in alignment with my values, or is guilt leading the way? Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's your way of saying that your well-being matters just as much as your responsibilities. Accept that you don't need to be available all the time to be respected in that organization. In fact, healthy boundaries increase the respect that people have for your time and for you. And this is what is going to keep you from feeling resentful and constantly overwhelmed. Tool number 5, let go of the need to be the strong one all the time. Strength is not silence. Strength is self-awareness. You can't be a powerful leader and still say, hey, this particular change is actually stretching me too. That vulnerability creates space for support and human connection. Just think of your managers, your bosses who always seem to have it together, and you've somehow come to expect this of them. Whether their workload is double or triple and their teams are going through the motions, they still remain tight-lipped. And in your mind, they never need help. You'll rarely see them flinching under pressure. This is a heavy mask to wear, and it can be exhausting. Just imagine if every once in a while they said, you know what, let's support each other through this season of transition. How much pressure would that lift from their shoulders and also your shoulders? Would it soften the atmosphere whenever they stepped into the room? You'll find that you're probably leaning more from a place of understanding. Strength doesn't mean pretending that you're fine. That's the fastest way to disconnect you from yourself. And when you become emotionally isolated, people will not know that you're struggling until it's too late. When you're always holding it together, supporting everyone else within the team, never showing vulnerability, people are going to start believing that you don't need support at all. And then slowly, without meaning to, you become that person that everyone leans on, but you have no one to lean on yourself. And the danger here is that you're going to start smiling through burnout. You're going to start leading through breakdowns. You're going to start pretending through pain. And you've become so used to being okay that even when you're not, you don't know how to say it, you don't have the wording for it. So why not start letting people in just a little? You don't have to overshare everything about your life or even break down in the middle of meetings. Just say something to the tune of, this season is a bit much for me and it's testing me on so many levels. I don't have all the answers yet, but we are going to get there. Or, I do appreciate you guys checking in on me. Today has been a heavy one. This look like small truths, but they're going to create genuine connections. They're going to create support, trust, without making you any less of a leader. And the plan here is for people to see you, for people to experience you, not just your strength. I hope you're still with me, and if you are, please let me know where you're watching from, and if you've experienced any light bulb moment, please meet me in the comments section also. I'd really like to hear from you. As we move to tool number 6, which is anchor yourself in routine. In seasons of external chaos, internal rhythm is what is going to bring you calm. When the world around you is shifting, you have all these deadlines to meet. You're going through company restructuring and you don't know which department you're going to be redirected to. There are new systems that are being introduced and you don't know whether your way is going to have to submit to the AI way, or maybe there are even new teams that are coming in after a reshuffle, and you know that you're going to need a certain kind of grace to deal with the differing personality types. One of the best ways to stay emotionally grounded is to find rhythm in your day. That morning tea at 7:30 in the morning without your phone, a 30-minute to 1 hour reflection at the end of your day that you commit to journaling before bed. You call it your end of day wind down, your gratitude list every end of the week. That rhythm is your safe spot, your soft place to land. It's familiar, it's grounding. Rituals help signal safety to your brain, the very place where you can actually respond instead of reacting. And these tiny actions actually act as emotional anchors because they restore balance by reminding your nervous system that not everything around you is changing, and your mind needs something steady to hold on to when everything else around you feels uncertain. Just think of a life without routine for a minute. You're going to find that you're constantly chasing balance. There's no rhythm, there's no grounding. Then you start every day in full survival mode. You're waking up, diving into stress and letting the day guide and control you. But over time, you'll find that you're feeling anxious, you're more scattered, and mostly emotionally drained. Your routine doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be yours, because in the middle of uncertainty, predictability is your power. And you're probably saying right now, Nancy, that feels a bit rigid for me. It's not. It's about creating safety inside of structure. You just need to find that one thing that you have or can control and make it your personal ritual, your rhythm. It could be 3 things that you're grateful for every single day, that walk during your lunch hour, your favorite playlist, a prayer, that which gives you a sense of calm and a gentle reminder that you still have power in the middle of any storm. Moving on to tool number 7, redefine what success looks like to you during change. Sometimes we carry this outdated definition of success that does not even fit in the season we're in. Success in a season of stability looks totally different from success during disruption or transition when everything is shifting. Maybe success is not about launching the next big thing. It could actually be showing up with grace and integrity even when it's hard. Keeping your teams grounded, protecting your mental health, thinking progress and not necessarily perfection, thinking presence and not pressure. Leadership is a long game and your emotional wellness is what is going to sustain it. So adjusting your expectations is not lowering your standards. It's actually leading with emotional intelligence. Just think of the moments, and most companies go through this, the moments of budget cuts where certain projects have to be put on hold. The company momentum has to slow down, and for the high achieving career-driven workforce, you're going to start feeling like you're not achieving enough, you're not giving the best of you, you're not being put to full use. But if you look closely, during such moments, success is not about progress. It's actually measured by your presence. Are you able to show up fully? Can you be counted on to be calm, consistent, clear? And now, leadership is not about how best you perform under pressure, but how grounded you stay when everything else around you is shaking. The uptick here is that you're going to stop chasing unrealistic expectations, and you'll actually be okay to lead from a place of total alignment. Redefining success is going to give you emotional breathing room to navigate this change, to navigate this pressure, this uncertainty that we've actually been discussing in this video. And then you're going to notice that gradually you stop performing a role and you start embodying the kind of leadership that is representative of you. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. The reality is change is hard. Leadership can be demanding, but emotional balance, that's your anchor. That's my anchor. We don't need to hustle our way through every storm. It's okay to be real. It's okay to lead from a place of total wholeness. I'd love to know from you in the comments, of these 7 tools that we've discussed, which one spoke to you the most? Better still, what's your go-to strategy for staying calm when the building is on fire? And if this video resonated with you, I hope it did. Kindly consider subscribing if you haven't already. Press that notification button for more leadership and wellness content just like this one. We can also connect via LinkedIn. We can connect via Instagram and just keep these conversations around leadership going. Share it with a friend whom you believe will equally benefit from the content. And if you have a moment, take a look at this video right here on 10 practical ways to manage social anxiety for people in leadership. You want to secure your role from all corners and serve as the best version of you. See you on the next one. Bye.